This is KGW News at noon.
Well, this is day 3 of the heat wave. We saw triple-digit heat in Portland yesterday, and we're expecting another day right around 100 degrees. The cool spot is along the coast. Take a look at our Cannon Beach camera at the top right. It is socked in. You can see the sun, though, shining in Lincoln City. We start things off this afternoon with Rod Hill for a look at the timing as those temperatures, Rod, begin to rise.
Yeah, that cool spot, by the way, only in the 60s along most beaches yesterday at the coast, obviously. And we think that happens today. But for Portland, the heat wave, we went 99 on day 1, 102 yesterday, which was a record for the date. And today we're going to be close to 100 on this third day. We're at 82 right now. Now, that's 5 degrees cooler than we were at this time 24 hours ago. Still, and I've really looked at this carefully, we're at least going to be in the upper 90s this afternoon. I have 98 at 4 p.m. and still the chance that we could make it to 189 for you at 8 p.m. The excessive heat warning is still in play through Saturday. For the darker shaded areas here, the orange is a heat advisory where temperatures will probably be shy of 90, but that's, shy of 100. That's in effect through Saturday. And from Eugene up to Longview, it's tough to see on this map, but there's an air quality advisory. The air quality numbers so far today have been mainly good. That's great news. We'll take a look at those numbers coming up in just a bit. Brenda?
We'll see you then. Thank you, Rod. There are now permanent rules in place to protect workers during extreme heat. Oregon OSHA put them in place last year after a farm worker died installing some irrigation pipes in Marion County. KGW's Alma McCarty explains the new rules and what the state is doing to make sure employers follow them.
With the sun beating down and temperatures rising above 100 degrees, intense manual work becomes even more difficult. That's especially true for farm workers. Here's Ira Coyo Martinez, Policy and Advocacy Director for PACUN, Oregon's farm worker union.
You're constantly moving, doing repetitive motions, having to bend down, and there aren't many shaded structures when it comes to the fields.
Just last year, Sebastian Francisco Perez, a migrant farm worker providing for his family back in Guatemala, died while installing irrigation pipes during the heat wave.
Sebastian was working by himself during this heat wave and wasn't found until late after the fact that he was missing and not showing up. That's very concerning that anyone would work outside in excessive heat in 90 plus degrees, 100 plus degree weather. And the employer or other workers not knowing necessarily what they're doing or how they're experiencing working in those conditions.
Tragic cases like this and other instances of heat illness across the state prompted leaders to act. Oregon OSHA created requirements to further protect people who work outside exposed to high heat or inside without a ventilation system.
They implemented the brand new rules that took effect on a permanent basis starting on June 15th, 2022.
Paul Cerner, an employment attorney, explains if the heat index is 80 degrees, employers need to provide access to shade and cool drinking water. When it hits 90 and above, additional requirements kick in. Those include more breaks, more frequent communication, and monitoring everyone more closely for heat exhaustion and heat stroke.
That might be a buddy system for employers where they only have maybe teams working together on a site where it's really remote, or where the supervisor's going around doing round checking in on the employees.
One of the biggest areas of concern and that this rule actually addresses is working by yourself in those conditions, because then no one can see if someone passes out or they are just excessively sweating and not necessarily taking the breaks that they should be.
OSHA inspectors will be checking on employers all summer to see their plans for protecting workers. Employees who feel rules aren't being followed can also submit complaints directly to the state without fear of retaliation. Alma McCarty, KGW News.
The heat is also dangerous for those living on the streets, so we went out to see how they're coping. We found some filling up their water bottles at fountains around the Portland area. They're also getting outside help. Larry Hall is with Clean Start. He's riding his bike through Old Town, handing out water.
Seeing people laying on the sidewalk, not knowing if they're breathing or not. So I take the initiative to get off my bike and walk up to them and ask them if they need water.
Multnomah County has opened 5 cooling centers, and it's adding more, so no one is turned away. TriMet won't turn riders away either if they're trying to get to a cooling center but they can't afford bus fare. Just let the driver know where you're heading. If you do need help getting to a cooling center, you're asked to call 211. The Salvation Army just opened a pet-friendly cooling center over in Hillsborough. It's on Southeast 21st Avenue across from the Hillsborough Town Center.
It's so important to make sure that we have safe spaces for both humans and animals, because we know and we've seen time and time again in disasters, people would rather leave themselves in danger to the elements than leave their pets in danger and seek safety for themselves.
All animals will have to be on leashes or in crates, and the county can provide those things if you don't have them. The pet-friendly space is open during the day for at least the rest of this week. Well, if you're lucky enough to have central AC, but your house still isn't cool enough, don't blame the air filter. It could be your doors, specifically the interior doors, the ones leading to your bathroom, bedroom, or home office. Brandon Lewis from our National Verify team explains the connection.
Temperatures are over 100 degrees in parts of the U.S., and we're all looking for ways to stay cool without burning a hole in our wallets. Verify viewer Sally emailed us to ask whether closing doors in her house will help save money with central air conditioning. So Sally, let's verify. Our sources are the U.S. Department of Energy, Texas-based Garland Power and Light, and Phoenix-based Precision Air and Plumbing. A central AC system is designed with supply and return vents strategically placed throughout your home. It's built to efficiently move air around the house. When you close a door, you break up the airflow and lower the efficiency of the system. Precision Air and Plumbing goes so far to say shutting doors is one of the worst things you can do. It's right up there with closing vents and beating your outside unit with a sledgehammer. So, no, closing doors will not help save money with a central air conditioner. If you have a window AC, then it's a different story. Those work by blowing air into a specific room of the house. Garland Power and Light says by closing the door, you're trapping the cool air and helping the unit run more efficiently. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Yeah, interesting. Open or close? Now we have the answer. Also a reminder, if you or someone you know does not have air conditioning and needs help staying cool, KGW.com has a growing list of cooling centers and some hot weather tips. Just text the word heat to 503-226-5088 and we will send you the list straight to your phone. Also this noon, we have some breaking news involving WNBA star Brittney Griner. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. has offered Russia a deal to bring her home, along with another jailed American, Paul Whelan. Blinken didn't reveal who is part of this deal, but CNN is reporting the U.S. is willing to free a Russian arms trafficker serving 25 years in prison. Today, Griner testified in her trial. This is video as she walked into the courtroom in handcuffs. Griner was arrested back in February at Moscow's airport. She testified that a drug-sniffing dog alerted police to her bag and found 2 cannabis capsules. She says it's medical marijuana prescribed to treat pain from basketball injuries. Griner also texted her agent and switched on the geolocator on her phone so her family would know where she was. Another hearing is scheduled for next Tuesday, August 2nd. Well, President Biden addressed the nation earlier today after twice testing negative for COVID. He tweeted a picture of the results. He's been in isolation for 5 days. The president's doctor says Biden completed his antiviral treatment 36 hours ago and is now symptom-free.
But the reality is that BA5 means many of us are still going to get COVID, even if we take the precautions. That doesn't mean we're doing anything wrong. Unfortunately, this COVID is still with us, as it has been for 2.5 years. But our fight against COVID is making a huge difference.
President Biden says 3 things get the credit for his speedy recovery: testing, vaccinations, and treatments. He calls them free and convenient tools that his administration has invested in, and he urged all Americans to take advantage of them.